Hey, what's up, guys? It's me again. Welcome to the This Is My Moment podcast. Here at This Is My Moment, it's 100% positivity, 100% energy all the time. Go get it.
There ain't no stopping it, this is my moment. Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better.
Today, I have a doctor on the line with me, a young man that I've been knowing for about 10 years. He actually was my old supervisor when I was young. Introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Matt Reece. I am a musician by training. Went after college at Penn State. Was a high school band and orchestra for a few years. Then went into the Air Force to become a band officer, a commander or conductor. It was my job to do ceremonies in D.C. for White House and the president. Used to do funerals at Arlington every day. There's some things you take with you for your rest of your life. The ability to honor those folks, and especially in that time. Then after about 10 years of that, the Air Force changed, and twists and turns of life, I wound up as a public affairs officer, and wound up getting deployed all the place, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit. You talk about a person who is joined the military to conduct bands, and all of a sudden I got an M4 rifle on my back and wearing body armor and sitting in a tent in Afghanistan, wondering how the heck this happened. But these things happen. You learn about yourself. You grow. You expand what you think you can do, and you find out the limits are way different than you thought they were. So after a couple times in Afghanistan, a couple times in Africa, a couple times in Israel, we found ourselves in Germany, and then the Air Force said, "Yeah, we're done. Yeah, see ya." And it became very clear that my future wasn't in the Air Force. So we decided, what do we do now? And we prayed long and hard about it, and decided that we're gonna take the road less traveled here. We're gonna stay here in Germany and make a new life here. I'm gonna go back to music. I'm gonna go back to where my heart is. And we're also go back to teaching and reach out to kids, and so that's what we've done. It's been about 8 years since I've been out of the military, 10 years here in Germany, and all right. At this point, I do kind of a lot of things. I teach college classes for University of Maryland over here. I play professionally in a bunch of groups. I teach lessons, private individual lessons for the Kreismusikschule here on the German side. I teach German to American kids, German language and culture, and I teach English to German kids in a German high school. On the weekends, I play organ in some of the churches around here. You can see that's what that beast back there is organ I use to prepare for those gigs. And I formed a bilingual youth orchestra in the Kaiserslautern area that brings the German community and the American community here together for a shared common artistic goal. And that's been growing up. That did that right in the middle of COVID. My timing couldn't have been more wonderful about that. But as we we had our auditions for the first orchestra on a Saturday, and the schools closed on Monday and stayed closed for a good year and a half. But we're coming on the outside of that now finally, and that's growing, and it's been good. More recently, we've been taking trips over to Ukraine with humanitarian aid. We take stuff in to some groups that take vans out into the danger areas. Our job is to take the things, medical supplies, tactical gear, some food and stuff over the border, because Ukrainians have a tough time getting out, and a lot of folks have a tough time getting in, or especially like American families who want to go, they can't. If they're any connection with the government, they can't. So not having any affiliation, that we're free to go in and out as we please. So that's something that we've been heavy on our hearts to do, and we've made, I think, 5 trips total into Ukraine now. That's what's going on here. That's my life.
Matt, it sounds like you done did a lot in these 8 to 10 years, man. You goodness, I am impressed. But
Well, you got to hustle.
um,
If you're a musician, you learn how to hustle. That's the deal.
let me ask you if you remember this. We're on this committee, this team, and me and you are tagged to go to Israel, right? You remember this?
Oh yeah.
You remember where you stayed at?
Yeah, I was in a tent, as a matter of fact, in the middle of nowhere on this air base in the middle of the desert in Israel.
You remember where I stayed at?
Here comes my troop, my supervisee. And I'm on the public affairs team. We have like 2 or 3 people working like 18 hours days trying to get all this stuff done because we have no support. And I remember my troop, my faithful sergeant comes in with like
So you do remember the story.
50 people. They're staying in Tel Aviv at this luxury hotel. It was
Oh, I'm just asking if you remember it. It's all like you ain't forget it. But I'm gonna make it worse. You know, we was right on the Mediterranean, right?
Oh, I know exactly where you were. I know because I've been TDY there after that deployment. I was TDY there, and I saw exactly where you stayed. I was like, son of a gun.
Hey, you know what? I would apologize, but I can't. I had a good time.
Oh man, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you. I would think that was great. If I was my supervisor was in that situation, I'd be laughing my butt off too.
Hey,
So
man,
raise a
hey,
glass to you, my friend. You know you played your
appreciate it,
cards
brother.
well.
I appreciate it. Let me ask you a question, man. So we've been knowing each other for a while. We've had a lot of communication, man. And I know a lot of stuff get to you, and I know a lot of stuff don't. What makes you smile? What keeps you positive, Matt?
I think that the thing that I enjoy most is when I see growth in other people. Obviously your own kids, but yeah, you say as a teacher, it's as a teacher, this is what gets you up in the morning to know that you're making a difference and to see the light go on, to see the growth, to see someone come from a place where, like in my place, where they're taking an instrument out of a case for the first time, and then a year later they are playing really well. To me, that is something I really enjoy out of life. That makes me smile. But the thing is, I love seeing anybody who is good at what they do their thing. I like seeing people who work hard succeed. I like seeing.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you one thing that really makes me smile is when I see craftsmanship. When I walk in and I see something that's really really well made. Like as a musician, you pick up a musical instrument and you see the attention to detail down to the little things. That makes me smile. I love watching someone who loves what they do, loves their work, and is constantly trying to get better at it. And particularly in my field, it's like musical instruments make stuff that is made to give joy to others. To me, that's a very noble thing. And it's unspoken, unseen people in the background doing this kind of thing, just doing their thing quietly and working 9 to 5, but so good at what they do and making these things that are beautiful and will last for years. And as I try to surround myself, you look back there, you got cases of instruments and stuff on stands, and that's I love that stuff. Music to me is another thing. When I hear a well-written song, when I hear something that's produced really well, someone who's passionate about what they do, that's what makes me smile. That's also what motivates you. You see someone here's someone who's better than you. When you see someone who puts their life into that kind of work, it's like, I got some work to do. I need to get better at what I do. I need to go practice. I need to go, whatever it is that I want to do, and stop wasting time. Get on it.
Yeah, stop wasting time and get on it. So we had a lot of years together, and I know we had time apart. It's been years. What's been one of the biggest misconceptions that you think people have about you, man? Like doing your time in the service now, living over in Germany. What do you think is a misconception people have about Matt?
Well, someone who is like as a musician or in the public affairs kind of career field, where it's your job to go out in front of people and talk and be up and positive. Some people assume that you're an extrovert and that's where you gain your energy is from that kind of stuff. And I have to when in those jobs, no matter what personality you have, whether it comes natural or whether it doesn't, you just have to learn how to turn it up to 11 to go out there and communicate with an audience or communicate on camera at a press conference or whatever it is you're doing, or teach to a class. But my happy place is not that. My really gain my energy as an introvert by myself. I love being in front of a fire, or with a book, with a dog on my feet, cat on my lap, because of music playing in the background, wife asleep on the couch, something like that. That's where I gain my energy is just within small groups of close friends or family. And I think most people who know me know that if I'm in public, I can work the room. I can be the life of a party, but at the same time, it's not me entirely. There's another side of me that is, I think, what my real happy place is, if that makes any sense.
Dude, actually, you just stopped my next question. I was going to ask you your happy place, but now I know it.
Well, I mean, that's one of them. I mean,
how many you got?
Well, that's a cool question. I mean, you talk about what makes you smile. These are all related. I enjoy being in the zone. My happy place is being in the zone.
Yeah.
And whether it's sports or whether it's just playing chess or a board game, or whether it's practicing or playing with other musicians, those rare opportunities when you're firing on all cylinders, where you everything is working, the communication is happening. Those are those rare opportunities. That's really a happy place. Is to be in the zone. It doesn't really matter what the context is. There's something about that. There's something about that rare thing, or that things are working, that I really like.
I tell you what, man, you're in a zone now, brother. You killing it. You killing it. And you know what's funny, right? I'm looking at you, and I can't help but to laugh, man. We've had some crazy conversations, and I know you got some stories. I know you do, because I haven't always been like the best trooper. I think I was a good trooper, but I knew how to work the room too. When you had me as a trooper, man, what impression did I have on you? Like, when you thought of Sergeant Mitchell, man, like, what was I?
Oh, that's a loaded question, and that's not when I thought was thinking you'd ask. The good Lord just gives us all kinds of people, and when you're an officer, you got to deal with people with their personalities and understand what their strengths are, play to their strengths, and work on building up the things that need improvement. That's what any good leader does. That's what any good boss does. That's what any good manager does. What any good coach does. Take whoever the God puts at your feet and deal with them who they are, and try to bring the best out of them. In your case, I saw that you were a very efficient worker. When you gave something, I didn't necessarily hear back from you right away, but you got it done. You got it done in your way, in your time, and I know that I could trust you to do that. And so you didn't like put on the airs that you were like busy all the time, but you got the work done. And I think some folks would look at you and say, "This dude's never there. He's lazy. What the hell's going on with that guy?" And no, you got your stuff done. You got your stuff done. Anything? I don't think there's anything I ever gave you, any task I ever gave to you that you didn't do very well in, and come back with very well prepared. Well prepared stuff. Well, for instance, like the infamous story we just shared about Israel. I mean, that was a really important mission. We were on the two sides of it. I was responsible for the kind of big picture stuff and to get the group that was down there up to speed. And your job was to test us, and you did. And you brought like this entourage of like 50 people, and was overwhelming, and And for me, it was like, well, dang. Personally, it was overwhelming on that particular deployment because it was meant to test us,
Mm-hmm.
but it was overwhelming to the people there because they hadn't anticipated what a real like a press ambush would be like. Where I remember this one guy. He was a lieutenant colonel who thought he knew everything, who thought he had this thing down, thought he knew his mission. And I went in to prep him for this interview. I'm like, have you ever done a press interview? No, but I got this. I got this mission.
Okay.
Are you sure? And I said, well, let's run some questions. And after a couple of questions, he wasn't so sure of himself. And then, but it was too late at that point because he was on in about half an hour. And he got out there and he got he got his tail handed to him by some of the folks he brought with him. And it was a real eye opener. And yeah, it was a hard lesson on that deployment for some of those folks. But you know what? That guy is going to be a commander someday. That guy is going to be leading people, and he's going to be
Mm-hmm.
the face of a mission. And
Yeah.
if that hits for real, what you did in bringing those folks there made him ready for that mission in a way that he was not ready when he got on that
Yeah.
plane. And that's
Yeah.
exactly why we do these things, and that was exactly our mission when we worked together, was to get these groups prepared to do their stuff. And
Already.
to me, I was watching this go down. I was like, boy. And there was a little bit of "I told you so" going on in my head, but of course you're not allowed to say that. You can't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
And the dude outranked me, so I mean I can't really say. So, but I was like, "Oh, I warned you, man. I warned you."
Hey, this is crazy, man. Hey, we did a good thing over there, Matt. And you know what, man? Every day we were at work, man, it wasn't a good day. And you have bad days now, and you got a lot going on in your life. That's for certain. When you get down on yourself, right, and you need that motivation, what quote, what message, what do you tell yourself to pick yourself back up? What do you get yourself back into?
Well, that's a very personal thing to get
Mhm.
into. For me, I go back onto my faith. I mean, because that's the way I was brought up, and that works. I mean, everybody's got their own thing, but I go back to my faith. I go back to the Bible, and where it says in Philippians, it's I can do all things through Jesus Christ who gives me strength. That, I mean, obviously that. There's context there, and that it doesn't mean that you can be Superman, but it means that
Right.
what God gives you, puts in front of your plate, He's going to give you
Mhm.
the strength to do it. It doesn't say that it's going to be easy, but He says you're not alone, and that, to me, that's motivational. Thinking big picture, I mean, when you talk about what's going on in the world today, I think. What keeps me motivated and sane in that realm is to caught on binary things, one side, other, left, right, political things, and all this kind of stuff, and that kind of stuff is eating our culture, eating our society alive. The thing that kind of keeps me sane in that is Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and this is a dude who experienced the absolute worst that life could throw at anybody, from war to be thrown in the gulags for years for things that were just ridiculously stupid. And the lessons that somebody learns that can drive you crazy,
Yeah.
or you can come out of that. And reading some of his books, like the Gulag Archipelago, it's just transforming in your life, because you see what somebody went through, and they come out of it
Yeah.
not broken but stronger. And one of the
Mm.
things he said, I think, is really important to us today. He said that the line between good and bad does not go between countries or political divisions or any other things on a list he brings up. It's a line that goes between every person, and there's good in every person and there's bad in every person. And your success or failure comes down to how you deal with the good and the bad inside of you.
Mm.
And to me, I think that the world could use a lot more of that. We all want to be the heroes of our own story, but I think the reality is that there's good and bad in every one of us, and we have to um, our success or failure and our legacy really turns on not whether we were on one side or the other, but how our integrity and character and courage and all of those things that are inside of us that we build
Yeah.
inside of ourselves guide us. I think that's a real important thing that we should all kind of consider these days. That's very inspirational to me in a strange way, kind of a deeper way.
No, that's heavy, man. And you're right. Sometimes you got to go through it, and depending on who you are, is how you make it out.
Well, in his case, it would have been real easy for him to say that my captors are the bad guys, but he saw captors who were bad guys but still had good on them, and he saw
Yeah.
fellow prisoners who had done nothing wrong but still had bad in them too, and that stuff all comes out. There's no hiding it. It's gonna come out at some point in your case. Some people are good at stuffing it down. It's gonna come
Yeah.
out at some point. And
Yeah.
what do you want to be defined as? Do you want to be defined as someone who gives in to the dark side of your nature? You want to be defined as someone who has self-control, who has integrity, who has character. I think that's what it comes down to. See, my own kids, they can do whatever they want in their life as long as they have character, as long as they have integrity, as long as they are people who are worthy of respect.
Hey, Matt, you ready to have some fun?
You mean we're having fun already?
So here we go. The last section, the last couple questions. I want to see where you at. So TIMM fam, he had the question. He had them ready. He had them ready. So let's see if he got these. These next three questions, word association. I'm gonna give you one choice, then I'm gonna give you another option. You have to pick. No bailouts. You ready? Here we go. Public affairs officer, musician. Which one you choose?
Oh, it's yeah, it's funny. I learned a lot as more about myself as a public affairs officer because I found myself in places I would never find myself as a musician. Like as I said, I found that was I think God's way of stretching me beyond what I thought I was supposed to be doing. When I grew up, from the time I was I was from pretty early on. When I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be an Air Force band officer, and I had that kind of level of focus to do something which very few people do. I mean, there's only 20 some people in the world who do that job in the U.S. anyway, in the U.S. military, in the U.S. Air Force. But God had to take me out of that and show me other things to do. And there, say, wound up in places that I never would have found myself, and I grew in those things. Finding myself in a tent in Afghanistan, going out on missions and stuff like that. Good Lord, I would never thought seen myself doing that when I was in high school. When you thought in college, everyone told you were crazy, absolutely nuts. No, that's not me. I'm no athlete. I'm no soldier. I'm a musician. But that God put me in that position, and I grew a lot as a person. But that being said, given my choice, obviously my life here just tells you which way I'm going.
Second question, Matt. Do you prefer to play instruments or watch your kids play instruments?
That's that is an awesome question. There's a different kind of happiness in those things.
Gotta pick one though.
Oh man. If it's tough because as a musician, if you weren't able to play a musical instrument, that would be rough on you personally because it's a part of who you are. It's an extension of it's like your arm, to be able to play music. But to know that your kids are taking up something that you enjoyed and doing it on their own, and they're starting that journey that you're headed down, that you've been down that road, but they're just starting that journey. That's a cool thing to see. That's a cool thing to watch.
What's your answer?
Specifically, your question is, what is exactly the question?
Do you prefer to play or watch your kids play? There's only two choices, Matt.
You know, there's joy in both.
Which one you pick?
This is gonna sound awful, but I prefer playing. I prefer playing myself.
That's why you didn't want to say nothing.
Well, the thing is, when they get better than me, they'll enjoy you listening to them because they'll be better than me. But the point right now, I'm better than them, so I enjoy playing myself.
Hey, good answer.
You asked for an honest answer, you got an honest answer.
Appreciate the honesty. Last question. Phrase. When I say, Matt, this is my moment, what do you think of?
I think of those rare periods in your life where you're in the right place in the right time with the right people, and you have the ability to step up in a way to do something that is what your legacy is going to be built on from that point forward. And you say, God, life has its ups and downs. I've seen some highs, I've seen some lows. It's cool to play at the White House. It sucks to be in a foreign country without a job, having job interviews in a second language, and having to deal with that, all of that uncertainty and all of those things. Ups and downs of life are that it is, but there are those periods of time where you are in that place where that you are the person that God's put in that place in that time for that reason, and that there's nothing like that. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. That's it, brother. We done.
I say I enjoy following your success. I say I love watching people succeed, and it's been really cool to see you step into your moment, which you served honorably for a long time, and then you stepped out of that and straight into other things that you were able to bring your passion with you. Find other ways to serve, other ways that strengths that I don't think you had. I didn't think you realized when you were in the military still, how you coached when you were in the military, but I don't think you realized that what that represented as your calling to do. And I think that you've really come into your own in your second life there, and it's really, really awesome to see.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me cry, man.
I doubt that. You're pretty hardcore.
But you know what's funny though? Even when we were doing our thing overseas, man, it was all talking. Like we got paid to talk. We got paid to help other people talk. And that's an extension, man, of what I'm doing now. And that was practice for me for this here. It's been a pleasure. Hey guys, if you're not out there hustling, if you haven't found your passion, you might want to look harder. You might want to look inside yourself before you look outside. It has been a pleasure talking with you, Matt. TIMM family, go get it!
There ain't no stopping it, this is my moment. Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better.